Thank you guys for joining. Just wanted to introduce myself real quick. I'm Patrick. I'm actually the client sales rep here at McCormick. Wanted to take you through kind of a mile high view, show you some of what the McCormick systems has to offer. I know we got a couple guys that are currently using our system on this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, and I'm going to leave some time at the end for questions, anything like that. So as we're going through, definitely think of those. If you want to type them up, it'll pop up at the end. I'll kind of go back and touch base on those. So with the McCormick systems, when you first open it up, it's all up on the cloud, everything like that. So it makes it nice and easy. But what you can do is actually set up usernames and passwords and everything just for security. So I'm going to log in as my admin. So now that I'm in this screen right here, this is my job screen. And really what this is showing you is your job history. So as you're going through, when you first get the system, it's empty and it doesn't really look like this. It's got kind of more of a basic style to it. I have this one set up pretty customized. Come through, set up some different columns here if you want to. You got some tabs across the top to keep your jobs basically in folders. Set those up however you want. You can do your more common builders or types or styles of work. I even got a couple of years up there for your archived stuff. Not a big deal. However fits you guys is definitely the way to set it up. Now, with this being your job screen, again, it's really your job history. Everything in McCormick is left to right, and this screen is no different. So when you first get it, you want to come to the right, you want to come over here, hit new job, and start building up that job history. Now, once you've got some jobs here, it's pretty easy. You pick on a job you want, come over here to the right and tell what you want to do. And that's it. Now, I'm going to kind of go through the steps of making a new job. And I only have a few minutes on the webinar, so I am going to kind of fly through a few things. But instead of hitting new job, I'm going to hit details. Same exact window, but on new job, this is empty. Just put in who to get a hold of, how to get a hold of them. That way, all this information transfers into different reports and stuff like that later on. So throw your stuff in here so you have to worry about it. Then you just go through your tabs at the bottom, any extra job notes, who you want working on the job, directories, times. Times is pretty cool. It's actually going to tell you who was in the project and for how long. So how long have you been bidding this one? Well, it shows you right there, about 70 hours. Drawing is pretty simple. You can right click, make a folder if you want to keep your stuff nice and organized, or if you just want to bring some in, just hit add, drop back here, grab your plans and hit open. Really not picky on the format. PDF, TIFF, JPEG, PNGs, all of them are completely fine. If you get a PDF that has a bunch of drawings in it, not a big deal. It'll actually break it out just like this. You can come through and you can pick which ones you want. Now, I've only got 9 or 10 here, so I'm just going to hit import all, hit OK. There we go. So now I've got all my drawings attached to this job for us. That's it. That's really all it takes to make a new job in the system. Pretty easy. Details, notes, throw drawings in there. When you're done with that, you close it down. And that's basically it. All reality, you just made that 149 West Boston right there. So now the job's made. Now it's time to actually open it up and start playing around with this. So I'm going to go over here to the right and hit open. You've got 5 steps. And it takes any job, doesn't matter what it is, and breaks down into those 5 steps for you. And they're right here at the top. You got jobs, labels, takeoff, extend, and bid somewhere. So your first one, jobs. Well, that's already done. You made the job. You opened the job. You're through that entire first step. You're onto those labels. Now, the best thing about the labels is there's not really a right or wrong way of doing it. All you're doing in the labels is figuring out how you want to organize this project. So I've got bid packages, floors, and sheets. Kind of something basic. You could do systems. You can do east wing, west wing if you're doing hospitals or suites or apartments, whatever you want. Not a big deal. Set it up that way. Now, reason for doing this is we're going to assign parts and pieces to those areas, and that jumps us on to our next step, that step 3, that takeoff. So inside my takeoff right here at the top, it's going to tell you what section of the project you're working on, what label set you're currently in. So I'm on my base bid, I'm working on my underground, and right now I'm on sheet P1. Well, I want to go to a new sheet, so it's pretty easy. Hit the drop down and just go to a new section. So there we go, I'm on P3 and floor 2. So now anything that I do, any takeoff I do is going to actually drop into this audit trail for me under that section. Again, just keeping stuff organized. Now, big thing with our database, we've got 2 or 3 different key features in here. So you've got items and you have assemblies, and then you've also got our Design Estimating Pro. So everything in the system comes preloaded up for you. Now, I know a lot of guys are familiar already with what the concept of an assembly is. And if you're not, all it is just a bucket of items all thrown into one easy click. So if you take off something like a run of pipe, all you do is pick what type of pipe you're running, how you're hanging it. So say we're gonna do a clevis hanger, C-clamp, pick the size. And now if I actually put that on a drawing or measure something out, it's gonna give you everything you need to actually hang that and put it in place and be done with it. Now, as I mentioned, these are built with items. So every single individual piece in here that we're looking at here is an item on its own. And those are right here for us. Now the items hold your price and labor for you. Now there's thousands of items in here. So please don't ever try and find something going like this. Again, you use that menu, left to right, pick what you're looking for, and then it takes you directly to it. So pretty easy to track anything down. All you simply do is use that menu, left to right, takes you to the right piece you're looking for, start dropping it on a drawing and you're set. Now, putting our takeoff on a drawing, pretty easy. All we do is come here to the right, hit our Design Estimating Pro, opens up this window right here for us. Now, if you're running two monitors, what you can do is take this and put it off onto your other screen so you can open up a drawing and see everything that's going on. I'm only going to play with it on one screen for this, but ideally two screens definitely works out well. So moving around the drawing, it's all mouse controls. Scroll the mouse back to zoom out, forward to zoom in, everything like that. Now I don't need to rotate this one. It came in okay, so I'm going to cancel that. And now they actually didn't put the scale on this drawing for me, but I know that line right there is 8 feet. So I'm going to come up here and set it from a known point, and then just simply line this up. There we go. That's 8.0. Enter. All right, my custom scale is 1 equals 13.248. So now I'm gonna come up here and start doing some takeoff. Now I already kind of know this job, and again, I'm gonna fly through some of this just because it's a quick little webinar. But big thing is, I got to find what pipe I'm running. Cast iron, I know it's 4-inch, so I'm gonna come back here and again use that menu. No hangers, hit my 4-inch. Pull this back up. Now I'm going to simply do is click at the bottom to start, come up here and click to end. So all you're simply doing at this point is tracing. Nothing too crazy. Now, as you see, it's actually going in and highlighting all the lines for you. Everything's marked up, but more importantly, down here in the bottom left, it's going to tell you that you just ran your 4-inch cast iron. You did 5 runs, about 146 feet. Now we know the length of what we just did, but more importantly, it's right here for us. It's done, it's counted for. There's nothing else you have to do. So when I come up here and I hit my 2-inch and I start throwing my 2-inch pipe on, then it's going to simply start marking that up as well. So super easy, come through, you just start clicking away and you're set. Now, same idea when you start getting into any fixtures or anything like that. So if I say, hey, I'm throwing a water closet on here, and let's say we're going to stick with that cast iron. There's my open front. Oh, wrong button there. So if I throw a water closet on, it actually looks like a water closet. Now you can also see over on the far right, I've got something called my hot list, and anything that I do on this project is going to go in that hot list for me. That way, if I ever need it again, I can quickly grab it. So I can grab more 4-inch pipe right here and start throwing that down if I want to. And actually didn't even take off my 2-inch. I skipped over that one, so we throw that on real quick for us. There we go. So that's really all it takes. And again, everything that I'm doing is being transferred right here. So there's really nothing extra you guys need to do to get your takeoff done. And there's a bunch of features, a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm just going to kind of take off this one page real quick and then show you guys a couple things. So a lot of times what happens, we get a set of plans. Sometimes they're great. Like this one's got everything laid out for us. Sometimes they're not the best. So what we can do is take that hot list and throw it right here for us. And I can actually start designing my own takeoff if I want to and simply be done with it. Having those custom symbols, I can send this drawing out to whoever I need and they can see exactly what I did. Now I can also double click this line here and add what's called a text overlay. So if I put a CI4, I'm gonna do the same thing for my 2-inch right here. That's actually gonna label every single pipe run I did on this drawing. That way, now when I send this to somebody, there's really no question about what's happening. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. So a couple other cool features, stuff like that that you can do. I mean, you can make your own symbols. You can put drawings on top of each other. You can put grid lines. You can do really any design aspect that you could think of in this thing. Drawing tools, importing pictures, all sorts of stuff. But hypothetically say I'm done, say I'm set. I've got everything marked up on here. That's all I need to worry about. From there, all I do is simply close down my drawing. I know everything's taken off. And I simply jump onto my next step, my step 4 extension. Now, what's going to show in the extension is everything that we did on this entire project. So it's going to come through here, and like right there, I've got my 4-inch cast. Took off about 1,400 feet, $8.55 a foot. So it's going to cost you about 12,300, just shy of it. 0.11 man hours per foot. So it's going to take you about 155 hours to actually do that install. Now you've got that breakdown for every individual piece of material on here. Now you've also got the totals up top saying, hey, you're looking about 118,000 in material and about 3,000 hours to knock this project out. Now this report is great. It's going to show you everything going on in the project. But if you remember back on step 2, we actually broke our project down into some sections. And this is really where that comes into play, because what I can do is come to the top, hit my labels button, and I can turn off like my change orders. I don't want to see those. I'm not focused on those right now. So if I go back to my material, now that just took your project cost down to about 96,000 and only 1,918 hours. So super easy to manipulate, see what you want to see. That way you can get your parts ordered as well by going to a simple item pull sheet, file, export, send it out to Excel, get it off to a supplier if you need to, and you're set. A couple other things, just diving a little bit deeper into the extension. A lot of PMs are using this as well in the sense of deadlines. So I know it's going to take about 1,900 hours to do this project, but if I come over here, I can actually separate all this out and go back to my material and collapse these down. Now what that just did is now I can tell you my underground floor 1, 2, and 3. Now again, I've got mine broken out by sheet. So on this one, system or phase would work a little bit better, but it's going to give you those deadlines along the way to make sure that 1,900 hours doesn't sneak up on you. So tons of information, tons of things you could do in here to go through and really start getting everything in line. And again, biggest thing is just staying organized within the system. Now, if all these numbers look good, you can adjust anything you want. You can change any of the quantities or pricing or labor just by simply clicking and typing in whatever other number you want. Now, if all of these look good, I just simply come to the top and I hit send to summary. That's going to pop up one little message. You hit OK. Simply close this down and hit that step 5. So now what we're looking at here in the bid summary is really how we finalize this project. So I've got that base bid. I'm looking at that 96,000 for material, and that's thrown right here up top. Now, my hours, I'm looking at 1,900, but my labor is still showing as $0. And the reason for that is I haven't built up a crew yet, haven't assigned anybody to this project. I also don't have any quotes plugged in yet, so any subcontractors, direct job expense, or equipment we need to run. I haven't done any of those. I'll do those in a second by simply going through our tabs down here at the bottom. Now, when you're done with that, you'll come back up to the top and you'll throw some overheads profit on it. And then over here on the right, you can actually see what the job's going to cost you and what you're going to make on it. So next tab is down here at the bottom. I'm on my top sheet. Again, I go to that labor. It's pretty easy. All you do is you pick who you want, hit the arrow to the right, and it assigns me to the project over here. So let's just build a quick little 4-man crew. There we go. Not a perfect world. Everybody's turning a wrench at the same time. About 480 hours each. So labor alone is going to cost you about 73,000 down there in the bottom right. Well, you're done. Now you jump on and hit those quotes. Well, we took off some fixtures, so maybe that lav, maybe it's going to cost you $1,250, and those water closets are about $550 a pop. There you go. They're looking about $1,800 just in fixtures alone. You can hit add, water heaters, water softeners, whatever you want to add in there, go for it. Same thing with your subs. Hit that next tab. Maybe you got a guy that's going to sock cut for you. Maybe it's $50 an hour, and he said it's going to take 9 hours. Well, there you go. There's $450 right there for you. Next one's those direct job expenses. Like permits and fees, $17.50. I did a little bit of an as-built, so we'll throw another $500 on it. That next tab's those equipment. Same idea. Maybe a backhoe's $125 a day. You need it for 3 days. $375, or if you're renting something to yourself, you're charging a maintenance on it. Maybe you're $5 a day for your air compressor. It's going to take 2 months to knock this project out. There's $300 in case something happens to it. Again, you can add those lines if you need them. That next tab is that bond table. You can do amount or percent, really just depends on what you need to see. And you got those taxes. Come through here, plug that tax rate in. And that way, when you're done, you go back to your top sheet. You can now see you have dollars all throughout here, but nothing on overhead or profit yet. But over here on the right, we can actually see this job's going to cost you about $182,000. Now, to flip it, to make some money on it, I'll come right here in my overhead and start out with, say, 10%. Throw a 15 for that profit. Now, doing them there just fills in this column as well as that one right there for you. Now, you can change these to whatever you want. Maybe you're going to pull 25 and 8. Not a big deal. Adjust them, hone them in if you need to. Because now we're actually looking at a sell price about $229. Make it 20%, about $46,000 coming back to you. So ultimately, from here, there's a couple different things you can do. You can come up at the top. You can do some of the exports that we have up top. So shooting it out to Foundation or any of our other ones, proposals. We'll make its own little Gantt chart schedule for you. This little printout here is not bad at all. Just going to more so give you a summary total of everything that we're doing on that step 5. There we go. So it's got that job information up top that I was kind of talking about with all those notes there for you. But at the bottom, it's also breaking down everything going on in that summary sheet. Breaking down your labor, your cost, where everything's going, what you're charging for it. So not a bad little report. You can take this and export this out to Word or Excel if you want to, or just print it. You've also, inside this system here, something that's pretty unique is actually our change order tracking. So I can actually create a change order like I've got the 3 right down here. And when I do that, it'll actually pop into here for us. That way I can come through and I can check or uncheck projects and see what's going on. Like this one's pending. Now it's pretty old, so that one should be done by now. But if you submit something, you can take this and flip it to submit and tell it, hey, I want to be alarmed on next Thursday. And now my computer next Thursday will pop up and say, hey, you submitted your change order 3 report and it hasn't been approved yet. Who do you need to get a hold of? And it's going to go through and keep track of all that stuff for you as well, which makes it nice and simple. So ultimately, there's a ton of things you could do in this system. I know I kind of flew through most of it in 18, 20 minutes sort of thing. I'm actually going to, let's do this. Let me throw a notepad on there. All right, so I'm going to hold tight for a little bit, see if anybody has any questions for me. If so, go ahead, type them up. It'll pop them on across, and I can read them out and answer them for you guys. Other than that, if you guys want to reach out one-on-one or anything like that, there's my email. Easiest way to get a hold of me is shoot me an email or give me a call right there. Just ask for Patrick. They'll pass you right on across, and I can answer any more pointed questions or any more specific questions that anybody's got. All right, well, I haven't seen any questions come through yet, so I'm just gonna kind of hold tight for a second and see if any other ones come up. If not, then I will kind of call it a day here in a couple minutes. All right, well, I haven't had any questions come through, so I'm going to assume that you guys are going to reach out one-on-one sort of thing and hit me with any of those questions you've thought of. Otherwise, thank you for joining, and I look forward to talking to you guys later.